myself, building up a world of bridges.
Oh, Georgina,
Yes.
it's so lovely to see you. I've been looking forward to this, and you mentioned Eurovision there, and I feel that's a brilliant place to start because I've really enjoyed all of your Eurovision content, of course, and I know you're a massive fan yourself. And I was actually at the grand final, the live show in Liverpool, and I saw you were in Liverpool as well. So I just want to hear what that experience was like for you, because you must have been in your element, I'm sure.
Oh, it was phenomenal. I couldn't get tickets for the grand final. I was desperate. I really tried my best. But my accreditation this year was the first time I've ever had accreditation that, I really pushed for. It was an online one, so it was all very much about, watching it on screens and things. So I was just like everybody else trying to get in. So I went on the Thursday, the second semi-final. And it was fascinating. There was one funny moment when I'm sort of in the arena and my brother sent me a picture of him watching it on the TV, and he was like, I can see them, they're like there, and it was just kind of weird at that moment. Anyway, the show was fantastic. I think what kind of interested me a lot about it was the way that everything is staged. So, for example, you'll have a presenter over at this side where they're changing the stage round over at this side. So it's almost like a distraction technique. You're drawn to these different areas. And the timings were so slick. Literally, like you've got this long to change this set round. If you don't make it, it's tough. So it was like clockwork, the way that everything came on and off, and how the singers were ready for their particular points, and the presenters, they had it really tough. Because one minute, Hannah's there, and then all of a sudden she's around the other side, and then up pops Alicia in the green room area. And it was just crazy busy for them. I hope they got paid a lot. I expect they would have done. But there
I
was a
think they
lot
did.
of racing around the building, I think, for them. And that kind of fascinated me on, because I've worked in TV before, but not at something where because where I was in the arena, you could literally see everything. So you could see the backstage crew as well as the film crew, and it was just really fascinating to watch how slick it actually was. To say they don't have, I know they have like a week of rehearsals. It's not that long really when you think about it, and how slick it is on the night. But performances were great. It was like I expected, though. There were performances that I thought were better on stage than they were as a record. For example, Unicorn. I didn't get the video. I was like, why is she upside down? What? I have no idea what's happening here. And it didn't get me. But as soon as she performed it on stage, the charisma and the talent she had, the song went from sort of down here on my list right up to the top. So I think that was one of the great things about it, was that you really got a feel for the songs when you saw it staged. Because when it's just on a video, it's not quite the same. The energy's not there. And she surprised me. She was one of the artists that surprised me the most, especially when I didn't know what was going on in the video. But why is she upside down?
I
Who's that over?
remember watching.
I don't understand. Am I being an idiot here? That's not a unicorn. No, it's a horse. I'm like, what?
Oh, I
So
do. I remember your reaction specifically when you saw the moment when she became an actual unicorn, and you were so thrown off. I feel that bit was like the bit that stayed with me in the video. But I agree with what you said. Seeing it on stage, completely different. And she was one of the top three, wasn't she, in the end? So she did really well.
yeah, Sweden was another one. I thought that the Sweden song, it's not, sorry, Sweden, I apologize, Switzerland. I thought that it was a nice song, the video was nice, but when I saw him on stage, the charisma he had and how flawless his voice was, I was just taken back by it. And again, it was another that went from down my list to kind of up there. I didn't get to see Sweden on the second semi-final, which was a shame because she wasn't in that one. Um, so I kind of missed Loreen, but I would have loved to have seen her perform live. But what I did see, I thought was just awesome. I don't think anybody was terrible. I think the only one I thought that maybe a bit too much was going on stage was Denmark with the spinning rooms and things.
Yeah,
I think that probably overwhelming for him, and he was like, "Where am I supposed to be?" And now I'm through this bit, and now I've got. I think there was a bit too much going on for him actually to give a good performance. Because it was tough for all of the singers. I mean, there was one where she's on a like a ramp, and she's going to climb
yes,
up and then sing. Who was that? That wasn't Albania. It was Armenia. And she had to kind of climb this ramp and then still be able to sing and not fall off. It's like they had quite a job on.
crazy. Well, it's like you mentioned, Georgina, like when you listen to a record or maybe even watch a music video, which you do, when you compare that to a live performance, of course, it's so different in so many ways. And I think, you know, Loreen, she's one that when I saw her at the live show, her voice was the same, if not better, live, you know, and that's when you really know you've got a great performer in front of you. And I think she was a favorite all the way through, but do you think she was the deserving winner? Did you see her in the top spot all
Oh,
along?
that's kind of the big question because I've been asked a lot this recently, and I do think she was a totally deserving winner. From the second the song was released, I'm thinking, oh, this is a good one. This could really do well. And it wasn't because, yes, she's done it before. People are going to automatically back her because she's done it before. And there was quite a lot of controversy in the comments on my YouTube that, oh, well, this song has had this bit pinched from this song and this bit pinched from this song. I'm like, we've only got this many notes to work with. And do you really think that she's gone for that song from some obscure artist no one's ever heard of, and then this other song just to do that? That's a lot of work. And for me, as soon as I saw her perform it live, I knew that it was going to do well. Not just because the song was good, because her performance just out emotions anybody else's. She's so charismatic on stage. She puts every bit of her into the lyrics, so you believe her. Whereas some of the other artists, yeah, they sang it really well. It was technically good and all of that, but not many of them got lost in it like she did, and she believed every single word of it, and you believed it. You were absolutely with her, and there weren't many like that. I would say Unicorn, that was one that definitely got me. Estonia, I thought she was so gritty with her performance. That was really good. But yeah, I think Loreen was definitely a worthy winner.
Got to be with you on there, Georgina. You know, when we spoke to her on the channel not long ago before Eurovision, and I think she's just the same person in every setting I've seen her in her interviews and her performances. She seems to really carry her soul around with her and open up to people in her music as well. And that's what that song gave to me. It was definitely one of my favorites, and I know yours as well. But I'd love to know if you do have, maybe you don't, a top favorite song from this year, what would you say would be your number one? And do you know what, Georgina? I'd love to hear you sing your favorite bit from it as well, because I know you have a lovely voice.
Oh, now I'm trying to think what the melody goes like. Um, oh, well, the one I liked the most this year was not a song that's necessarily going to be a winner, but one that I just really connected with. I liked that it was about building bridges of so in a sort of mental health way. And I really like because I think that issue-based songs can be too obvious sometimes. And I didn't think this song was done in that way. It was quite natural and it felt like a struggle song without it being too, this is a mental health song, we're going to go for this particular issue. And it didn't feel like that. And I just believed her and I thought it was lovely. And I'm trying to think of the melody now. You've put me
Was
right
that
on the spot.
Bridges? Bridges. Is that
Yes. And why can't I think of it? I even did a cover song of it recently. Hang on, I'm gonna
listen?
cheat.
Go
I'm
on.
gonna look.
I'm gonna let you off for this time. You're allowed to cheat. It's okay.
Honestly, why can't I remember it?
It was a
I
gorgeous
have been
song.
I have been teaching this evening. I've been singing Go the Distance recently. So that's
Ah.
still stuck in my head.
I'd love to hear that too. Is that from Hercules?
Oh yeah. I had the words for that on my screen somewhere. Hang on.
I love it. Maybe you could do a mix of Go the Distance and Bridges.
Right, I found the words so I can have a look.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, that bit's the hard bit. We'll go from the beginning. Is it better if I do it without the music?
Yeah, whatever works best for you, whatever you prefer, whatever you feel comfortable with, go for it, Georgina.
Um, Bridges. I don't know the second verse, so I'm gonna get
That's
the
okay.
words up.
There are only
Alika.
so many lyrics you can learn, and there's so many songs each year, especially for Eurovision, you know?
Okay, so I'm gonna brave it. Oh, I'm being put on the spot. Bing. Now I'm heading home to solid ground. Realize that all the lies I've told myself have died. Bring me to the place where I belong, filled with all the memories and dreams I have ignored. Ah. Ah. There is always time to get back on track, tearing down the walls slowly every step. Now I see myself building up a world of bridges. There is one more thing you need to know, that I forgive myself for all the lies I've said before. Now I see the road of leading lights, showing me where I should go and what to leave behind. Go on, we'll do one more chorus. There is always time to get back on track, tearing down the walls slowly every step. Now I see myself building up a world of bridges. You will find a way to begin again. No more time to waste or to play pretend. Now I see myself building up a world of bridges. And what the hell, go to the end. I remember all the things that I went through, all the lies and blurry lines and city lights I knew. Now I'm strong enough to see what lays inside, and I can feel it all. There is always time to get back on track, tearing down the walls slowly every step. Now I see myself building up a world of bridges. You will find a way to begin again. No more time to waste or to play pretend. Now I see myself building up a world of bridges. Oh my God.
That was brilliant, Georgina. Thank you so much. I
I
feel
so
honoured.
wasn't expecting that. That was like off the cuff, not fully warm. I was kind of warmed up a bit because I've been singing with my students, but that's a
Yeah.
big song. That end bit's really hard.
George, listen, I'm not surprised because I know you're brilliant, but I'm very impressed. That was, I asked a lot of you from that, and you gave me the whole song. Gosh,
I
what
just
lucky
got carried away.
man!
I was like, I'm going to finish it now. I might as well. We're halfway through. Let's finish the
I
thing.
love it.
What's
You're
your favorite
brilliant.
song actually this year?
Oh, my favorite song from Eurovision. Wow, it's a great question. I would say I really had a soft spot for Lazara from France with Évidemment.
Yes. Yeah.
That was one of my top ones. just because I loved her whole sassy vibe and her character, and of course she has a beautiful voice as well. But apart from that, I think obviously going with the crowd, I would have to say Loreen as well. Of course, she was
Yeah.
my top contender. But do you know what?
Yeah,
I agree with you on Bridges. I love that too.
yeah, I don't think it was like a winning song, but I just really connected with it and I enjoyed singing it. I think that's probably what it was. I enjoyed singing it more than any of the others. I've not tried Tattoo yet though, so we'll see. I don't think it would
Ooh,
suit my voice. We'll see.
I
My
think
voice
it
is kind of
would.
Disney princessy, pretty voice, so it's not necessarily going to suit something as feisty as Tattoo because she really goes for it near the end.
It does, but
Ah.
Georgina, you just went for it there and you blew me away. So I think you can do it.
All right, we'll give it a try. I'll put it on my list of to-do
No.
and we'll give it a
Oh,
shot.
I'm looking forward to that one. I hope to see it. I think it'll be brilliant. But that was first of all, thank you. I really appreciate that. It was lovely to hear you, out the blue give me such a beautiful rendition of that song. And it kind of brings me to what I wanted to touch on with you about just your passion for music in general and where it started, because of course you have such a strong passion for music and for vocal coaching as well. I want you to bring me to the start because I don't know much about the start of your career journey. Where did it all start, your love for this? Because it's so
Well,
strong within you.
yeah, my family were not particularly musical at all. My dad had a guitar and he could sing, but he didn't really do it very much. But they did have a fantastic record collection. This is when, we had still vinyl. Tapes were out as well, but vinyl. And my mum's collection included lots of musical theatre, and my dad's collection was very much Beatles and the Rolling Stones. So that's kind of where I started to get into music. And when I started to listen to the musical stuff, I found it fascinating how songs could tell a story and not just be a bop, so to speak. And I found that with Beatles music as well. Some of those that my favorite Beatles songs are those that tell a story, like Penny Lane, for example, or Rocky Raccoon. Some of the like not necessarily mainstream ones, but the ones that tell a story. And that's what sort of got me hooked from there. I didn't have any singing lessons as a kid. It was only when I went to performing arts college because I wanted to be a dancer. I danced from the age of 4. That was my plan. I'm like, I'm going to dance in musicals. But yeah, a very bossy dance teacher said, actually, your singing's pretty good and your dancing's okay. It's good, but it's not, strong enough to keep that as your first thing. So that's when I started to get singing lessons in college, and it was all classical. And it's like, oh God, I'd never sung classical music in my life. But it was a really good base. It taught me so much about breath control and understanding placement and all of the technicalities of singing. And then I sort of progressed into musical theatre and went from there. And as I said, I still wanted to be a dancer, but it ended up that I became a singer instead. And I actually became a singing teacher quite early on in my career, really. But that was because, as you do, you get married and then have kids before you realize it. And you're like, oh, I can't really take my kids on tours now, on musical theatre tours. It's so not fair for them. Some do, some parents take the kids wherever. But I decided to take a bit of a break, do some admin jobs and things. And in that period of time, my next door neighbour, who was an actress, heard me singing while, believe it or not, changing a nappy. And she kind of came and stuck her head over the fence. Is that you singing? I'm like, yeah. Anyway, she asked me to teach her, and then I ended up taking a full course on how to teach, because how to teach is quite different from being able to sing. And I think this is where things fall down a lot in sort of vocal coaching, that people that think they can sit that can sing think that they can teach as well, and it's two different skills. It really is. So that's when I did, a full course on how to actually teach music and teach singing after I'd done all my degree in performance. And yeah, I loved it. I've done it ever since. It's I think now 20 years this year that I've been vocal coaching. And throughout that time, I've been in musicals. I've done everything from pubs, clubs, weddings, parties, all that stuff. And then I would say not long before COVID, I don't know whether I thought it was coming or not, but I started to teach more online so I could work with people all over the world. And it was great. It completely opened doors for me. It wasn't just about the people that lived over in my area. I could teach anyone. And that's when the Honest Vocal Coach started to sort of build up. And yeah, it's kind of grown from there. And I'm about 4, it might be 5 years as the Honest Vocal Coach now. And I still love it. It's great. I get to have a varied life now. I do, reactions some parts of the week, all the parts of the week I'm teaching singing, all the times I'm recording. So it's nice mixed sort of life for me. I'm not good with routine. If I have to do the same thing every day, I lose it. I really will. So I like the fact that I've got a bit of all sorts going on.
Absolutely do, and it was all meant to be, I think, Georgina, because you look at the success you've had in this career path, and I think you're coming up to 61 million views on your main channel,
Yeah.
more than 250,000 subscribers. I mean, that's massive. That's a massive achievement. You have that community that you've built. It's amazing. It really is. And that's just your main channel. So did you ever, foresee this really happening to what it is today? And how does it feel to be in that position now?
Um, I didn't foresee that, no, not really. I just wanted to be able to teach more people from different parts of the world, and a way of showing people that I existed was by doing videos and doing reactions. I thought that because it was a big thing at the time when I started doing it, there was loads of online vocal coaches. If you like, every single video was someone critiquing someone else. Um, and I didn't want to be like everybody else, which is why I went for the name of Honest. Not so I can be rude to people and that kind of thing. I just felt all of these other coaches were just being nice for numbers, for subscribers. And I thought, that's not teaching anybody anything. The students that I work with, I want them to know when something's being cheated. I want them to know this is not the best way to do it. And that's why I went the honest route. I could probably have had way more subscribers than I have now if I'm saying wonderful things about everybody, but I don't believe that that's the truth, because there's lots of smoke and mirrors in the music industry, and I kind of like to point them out for the young students I work with. This is what you're going to have to deal with. And I think that's kind of an important thing. But anyway, where I am with it now, I really enjoy it. It's still strange when people recognize me. I think the most I've ever been recognized was at Eurovision this year. It must have been at least 15, 16 people, plus people from other side of the world. I walked past a bunch of guys eating fish and chips from at Spain, and they were all singing the Spanish song, and they knew exactly who I was, and they thought it was amazing that they'd met me. And I'm like, this is just surreal. How do they know who I am? And then in the hospitality room, another lady came up from somewhere else, Finland, I think. She knew who I was as well. It's like, this is crazy. And it's nice. It is nice. I don't think I'll ever let it go to my head though, because I'm not that type of person. I think because I've worked with so many celebrities over the years as a vocal coach, they're just people. They're just people doing a job. And the fact that celebrity and fame comes with that, then that's how it is. Some people let it go to their head. I've worked with those people as well as those that are just generally lovely people. So I think just my aim is just treat people how you want to be treated. Uh, and I've never been starstruck yet so far. But I think if I was ever to meet someone like Cher or Barbara Streisand or Celine Dion, or the big singers, I would probably just fall over. That would, yeah, be gone,
Yeah.
really.
It might just happen one day, Georgina, it really could. And you dropped a little thing that I'm sure you won't tell me, but I want to know who a diva has been to you, because how can you be a diva to Georgina? Who's been in the past someone that you've worked with that you thought, oh, I don't want to work with them again? Or is that something you need to keep to yourself?
Well, I'll kind of tell you, but not the exact person. I went through a
Okay.
period of time of working with Atomic Kitten, girl band, big girl band fan, love them. Got so excited that I got to work with them. One of them, one of the prominent singers of the group. Oh my goodness, I was so surprised at her lack of technique and her lack of knowledge for singing, and just how rude she was to everyone. Like she was way above anyone else. Yet what surprised me is that she knew so little about what she was doing. She just did everything just by ear, really, which could sound pretty cool. But when you're doing vocal warm-ups with someone and she has no idea what you're doing, and you say, let's try this bit of head voice, and she goes, what's head voice? You're like, oh my God. You're this famous in this girl group and you don't know where head voice is. What is going on in the world? But yeah, she was really rude and didn't,
Oh,
yeah.
Georgina, I'm sorry you had to go through that. This is not
It's all
okay,
right.
is it?
She's still out there doing presenting and all sorts of stuff, so she's, made a career for herself. But in the period of time I worked with them, yeah, not my favorite person in the world to work with.
I think I know who you're talking about, but listen, I would be honored to have like techniques and vocal coaching from you. So I'm not gonna act like a diva, like she who shall not be named. But I would love to know your go-to, maybe basic first um tips and tricks that you give people when you're coaching them. What's something that you know do first thing when you meet them? What's something that you really want to hear from them? And I'd love to try it with you. I'm definitely not a singer, but I'd love to practice with you for sure.
Well, the things for me when I first meet a singer, it's discovering their habits because every singer has habits. Some of them can be really bad habits. Like, I don't know if you saw the Lionel Richie performance recently, the Coronation one.
Saw your
He was
video, not the
adding
actual. Yeah, yeah.
He was adding lots of extra vowel shapes and things that weren't in the original. And I thought, why do you need to do that when the song is so epic anyway? So it's little things like that. I look for that first. So I would warm up the singer. The first exercise I would always, always do is not everyone can do it, is a lip roll. This one. And the reason
Oh,
for that
okay, okay.
what it does is it puts your vocal folds into a really nice neutral position. So excuse me, there's no push, there's no force with it. It's gentle. You get a nice amount of air and a nice amount of sound. So it just helps loosen up the voice. Jessie J's obsessed with the lip roll. She, always, it's the first thing that she always does when she sings. So I would get you to do that first. Do you think you
Oh,
could try
okay.
it?
I mean, watching you, I feel like you make it look easy, but maybe it's harder than I think. So let me try. I'm gonna give it a go, but I'm a bit nervous. Okay, so on your lips like this, and then push
Yeah.
up.
Ah, that's not bad.
No, I'll take it
That's
from you,
not bad.
Georgina.
What
Thank
makes it
you.
difficult is that we try and do too much, and we don't need to. That's a lot of what singing's about. We try too hard, we try and do too much, and we have most of this naturally within us. So it's just drawing that out. Now, what happened with you is you're a real smiley person. So your muscles are lifted, so it wouldn't work properly. You have to kind of switch the muscles off to enable them to then do it. Because if you've got any tension or any pullback, you just can't do it. It won't work. You'll end up with because the muscles are lifted, so you can't do it. So yours wasn't too bad. So I think if you'd be a bit more depressed or less smiley, it'd work.
Do you know what? Maybe I'll take the smiles, and I just won't be able to sing. But I'll keep practicing for you, Georgina. I promise. I'm gonna give it a go. If that's what I need to do, then that's what I'll do.
Yeah, it does loads of things, that exercise. It sounds crazy, I know. A lot of, first students when they come to me and go, right, I'm going to teach you the lip roll, we're going to do this. And they're like, but we're just spitting at each other. What does that do for your voice? It's a bit more to it than that. It warms up
No,
the
I
lip.
love it.
It releases the soft palate inside the mouth. It also relaxes the back of the tongue. Plus, it doesn't overpush the larynx. It gives a really nice balanced sound. So it's great for building up range, and it's also really good for working through different registers. So from chest voice to head voice, for example. So you don't flip from one to the other. It makes it really nice and smooth. So although it sounds ridiculous when you first hear it, you're like, I'm just blowing a raspberry. It can do great things for the voice. So it's totally worth it.
I love that. See, there's so much science behind it that people don't realize. Just think, oh, you open your mouth and you can sing or you can't sing, but there's not, and that's where the coaching comes in. I find it fascinating. I really do. That's why I love what you do. And we've talked about, of course, how this is your biggest passion, and we see that through your career, obviously, and what you do. But I know you obviously have other passions, and this is something I've been really looking forward to talking to you about. Is your spirituality and your passion of psychic abilities as well. And I've obviously seen your other YouTube channel where you really, celebrate this and you have so much content on it. And I'd love to hear where that love for spirituality was found in your life, and that kind of journey, because
Yeah.
it's very different to singing, maybe not.
Well, it's a tricky answer, really, this one for me, because it's not something that I aimed to have as a child. You go, oh, I'm going to be this kind of person. It's something that kind of happens to you. And I find so many people are born with these abilities but don't use them, so they just disappear. They don't, they leave, use it or lose it type of thing. And my first, what I call a knowing, was when I was 16, and I knew something the second that it was happening. And it was very matter of fact. It was so to the point. It was quite a horrible thing. And it was like, all right, okay, that weird sort of acceptance and understanding all in one split second. And I found out what had happened 2 days later. And, it changed the course of the way that I sort of thought about things. And I've had these knowings my whole life. There's a great psychic called Tyler Henry. And I've recently got into his stuff. I watched his documentary, and his story's so similar to mine in that he had these sort of what he calls know-ins, and then find out that that's actually what's happened at that moment. We're not sort of able to tell the future, but we can tell you what's happening right now, and we can also tell you what's happened in the past as well. So yeah, that's kind of been something that's been bubbling underneath for so long. Something massive happened to me a year ago, nearly now, which you're probably aware of, and it changed my life completely. And it's something I still struggle with daily, and my desperation into want to connect with her just made me go on search of as many psychics, as many, how much more can I learn so that I can hopefully one day be able to connect with her or speak with her. I know it sounds crazy, but Sally Morgan, bless her, psychic for years. Her husband passed away a few years ago, and she says she now talks to him, which is a bit, for some people that's a bit odd. But I think when you lose someone like I did, there's this desperation that you have to somehow be able to meet them again or connect with them in some way. So I just went on this mad search and worked with loads of different psychics, had loads of different training. And that's when I decided, do you know what? I'm not going to hide this anymore, because there used to be trolls on my YouTube channel. They found a video clip on Facebook of me with a pendulum on my hand, and they're all like, yeah, she's a psychic scammer, she is. And I thought, you know what, I don't care anymore. I'm not going to hold this back. I think this is a gift that I have, and I genuinely can help people with it. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to embrace it and enjoy it as much as I can. I never tell anybody, something horrendously bad's going to happen. I don't think that can help them, live their life. But if I can help connect them with someone that's passed, and make them feel better about themselves, then I'm going to do that.
Think it's fantastic, and I applaud you for it, honestly. And it's part of you, and it means a lot to other people. And I'm not going to judge you at all, because me and my family go on paranormal investigations together. My mum and my little sister, they actually have their own business they just started up, where they cleanse people's houses spiritually. So, it's
Ah,
all part of my world too, and I think it's fantastic. So I applaud you for that. And I hope you carry on with that, as I'm sure you will. And unfortunately, we're almost running out of time. I could talk to you forever, Georgina. I really could. But I wanted to say, as a queer person myself, and this is Pride Month, I have to say it. You've been really embraced and adored by the LGBTQ plus community, and they've really taken you in as one of their own, and they celebrate you and love you. We do. So I just wondered if you have any message for your queer fans this Pride Month, and if you have any plans as well.
oh, well, I just realized this morning that it's York Pride this weekend. I feel so like I had no idea it was this weekend. So yeah, I'm gonna get on to my youngest, Alex. Alex is non-binary, my youngest. And we normally go together. So I'm gonna have to phone and go, look, why are we not going to York Pride? But yeah, I just want to say to everyone that follows me, and whether you're LGBTQ plus or not, I really appreciate your support. And I'm just a great believer in love is love. That's it. Love is love. That's how it is.